به نام خدای رنگین کمان. Good evening, welcome to In Session. I'm your host, Dr. Fatty Pirfalak, and I'll be with you for the next hour here on Radio Hamra. I haven't done a show for about almost 4 weeks, and to say that the reason I haven't done a show is the best reason possible would be an understatement. My wife Pegah and I welcomed our son Kian into the world on May 10th, just a few weeks ago, and it has been the most incredible journey already. I've worked with lots of parents throughout my career, but already I can see how becoming a parent, becoming a father is nothing like anything you can try to describe or try to imagine. I always thought it would be something um, really special, and it's been beyond all of that. And so, first and foremost, I'm just so grateful for this experience. Thankfully, my wife is healthy, baby is healthy as well, and so fortunate for the good fortune we've had throughout this whole process. Just as a human, but also as a psychologist, I've worked with many families as they have struggled in different aspects or different parts of this journey of becoming parents. And although every one of us is the result of that, so we see billions of results of people successfully having children, we know that so many people have had challenges that they've experienced along the way. And so every time Pegah and I went to an appointment to just follow up, see how he was doing, I knew that at that same moment, some other family had gotten bad news along their journey. So I know that can sound negative or pessimistic, but to me it was really a reminder of how lucky we are, how lucky we were throughout this whole process to be where we are. And so even on the day of the delivery, we also, thankfully, everything went smoothly. There's just so much to worry about and get concerned about, and you hear so many stories. And again, thankfully, everything was good for us and good for our son. Something that's still hard for me to, not hard to say, but hard to believe that it's real for me, that I am a father. I always wanted to be a father from a young age. I'm not a young father by any means at 43, but here I am. And now that I have my son, as much as I, at times thought I wish I became a father younger, life paths and journeys go and take you in certain ways, and also life decisions take you certain directions. Now that I have Kian, I am eternally grateful for every step that has led me to this moment to have him as my son. And my proudest title or proudest name for myself right now is Kian's dad, Kian's father. And to get to be his father is truly the greatest blessing of my life so far, and it's only a few weeks old, and I'm looking forward to however many years it will be. So yes, it's been quite a journey. Becoming a father, I think, is it's interesting how I knew the whole time he was coming. I'm becoming a dad, but there's something so abstract about a life coming to life that you're going to be a father to this baby or a mother, whatever your situation is. But it feels real and it doesn't feel real at the same time, which I experienced throughout the pregnancy. Just this feeling of, okay, I know he's in there, but what does that mean? How real is it? I think for mothers, there is obviously a very different experience. Carrying the baby makes it more real, more you physically feel it. The closest I can get to physically feeling it was putting my hand on Pegah's stomach if he was kicking. And now I see he's a strong boy, so now we see why those kicks were so strong. But that was the closest I could come. But Pegah would, first of all, just go through so many physical changes, but then also feel him moving around. And so creating that bond and that relationship and that reality so much sooner than I could. And a big, I'm talking about all these the gratitude and fortune. So grateful to my wife Pegah, who carried our son for almost 41 weeks, close to 10 months. Labor is such a intense process, and people go through so much there in different ways. And then afterwards, now taking care of him. And it goes without saying, it's such an understatement to say that we underappreciate what women go through to bring a child into this world. And one of my friends who became a mother a few years ago told me that after she gave birth, she realized she would just look at every human being, everyone she would see, and be like, wow, someone went through all this to bring that person into this world. It's so much more than you sometimes realize. And so for me, although I didn't have to go through it personally as going through all of that, seeing my wife go through it was a big reminder of that. And it does give you some perspective of the sacrifice mothers make to bring a child into this world. And I think it's quite a shame and almost hard to believe that we undervalue that so much. And so maybe in today's show, I'll talk about different aspects of just, becoming parents, but also the ways that our cultures and societies, I think, let us down. I think how we take care of children is something that we should think about as a society, but also how we even take care of families bringing children into this world. And it's really shocking. Another layer or aspect of gratitude is that we are fortunate enough to have the resources to go through this process smoothly, but so many families here, just in the United States, don't have those resources. And for me, going through it just these few weeks after the baby being born, I just can't imagine what it's like for people who don't have some of the type of support that we had, or even for me to take some time off of work comfortably is something that I don't take for granted, but it is heartbreaking to me that so many people might not have that possibility. And really, what are we valuing as a society when we don't value life and bringing life into this world? What can be more important than that? And so imagining my wife, if she had to go back to work at a certain time, where I've heard of other people going back to work after giving birth, it's just mind-boggling and heartbreaking to think of so many families that go through that. So just very grateful to my wife for just taking such good care of herself. I saw throughout the pregnancy how healthy and careful she was to take care of herself. And so I told her, and actually I said, even before he was born, by being healthy, you helped take care of him. So you've been his parent for decades now. But I appreciate all that she has done to make herself as healthy and to give him the best possibility. And I say possibility because you can still do everything right, and people have faced heartbreak before. So very grateful to her for that. And so his name is Kian, Kian, and we named him after Kian Pirfalak, who was tragically killed in November of 2022 in Iran by government forces, and a tragedy that I think captured all the hearts of Iranians around the world. Seeing the images of him, seeing the videos of him testing his boat, and just seeing the innocence of this young boy who was taken from his family and taken from us far too soon. Such a tragic event. And so we are honored to name our son Kian after him. But I also wish we couldn't have that honor, because Kian Pirfalak should still be with us. And if we were to name our son, or if people were to name their sons after Kian Pirfalak, it would rightfully have been after, let's say, in 20 years he made scientific discoveries that would have made us proud as Iranians around the world. But that's what was taken from, first and foremost, himself and his family, who experienced that pain, of course, the most. All of us, by extension, look to Kian as, I think, like a son to us. Of course, we're not the ones that had to lose him as his parents did, but in that way, My wife and I, Pegah, share Kian with his family and with his parents, because he should still be here with us. And he has become this meaningful symbol to Iranians around the world. But again, I wish that was not the case. I wish I would hear about him, as I said, 20 years from now, when he would have done some wonderful things contributing to the world. But this is what the Iranian government has done in robbing so many lives through death way too soon, and also in the ways that people can live their life with freedom there. And this is actually a legacy I share with my son, a tragic one, but a very meaningful one. I myself, my name is Farid. I was named after Badiollah Farid, who was killed in Iran in 1981, the year before I was born, for being a Baha'i in Iran. And the Iranian government has been brutal to so many people, but including the Baha'is of Iran. And during that time, many were killed, and my family was friends with this man. His last name was Farid, and they appreciated who he was and respected who he was. And for that, I'm very grateful and honored to be named after him. But what a tragedy that 43 years apart, my son and I can be named after individuals who had recently been killed by the Iranian government. And that's a legacy that I hope stops with him, that we see regime change and changes to this government, where it won't be a government that is killing its own people and getting in the way of their freedom and of their literal lives in existence. So I share that with him, and for me, that's a very meaningful type of experience, a very beautiful one in that way, that it's painfully beautiful, and I appreciate sharing that with him. But as I said, I hope that it stops with him, and when he's having his own children, there won't be any tragic people who have had their lives lost to name his children after. I hope it stops way before that, but definitely hope it ends with him in that sense. And so I'm eternally grateful to be his father, and for him to carry this name, Kian, is very meaningful to me, my wife, and our whole family. And so we send our love to his family, to Kian Pirfalak's family, and we are again so sorry for that loss that they've had to experience, and in that way sharing their son with us, who has become a symbol of what is lost when a government does not value its own people and its own children enough. And so with that, I'll conclude this segment. It is nice to be back with you all, but I am so grateful. I'll never feel the same again being a father, and I'm very grateful for that.